Start, Akshay.
Okay. Thank you, Sachin. So, a very good morning to one and all connected with us from all across the country. I am Akshay Singh Ranawat, and I welcome you all on behalf of Chaudhry Charan Singh National Institute of Agricultural Marketing, Jaipur, to the webinar series of Kisan Mitra in collaboration. Basically, which is on agricultural technology for marketing, organized by CCS NIAM in collaboration with Office of Principal Scientific Advisor, Government of India. CCS NIAM Jaipur is an autonomous central government institute established under the Ministry of Agriculture and Farmer Welfare to cater various agricultural related aspects relating to training, research, consultancy, education in agricultural marketing. CCS NIAM is also recognized globally as a center of excellence in the Southeast Asia. Kisan Mitra, or as we call it, Friends of Farmer, is basically an initiative by the Principal Scientific Advisor Office, Government of India, in collaboration with CCS NIAM. The objective of this initiative is basically to bring technologies to farmers and reverse migrants who have moved, or as we can say, diverted to rural areas or rural sectors due to the impact of COVID-19. And under this initiative, more than 1,000 technologies have been identified, which are supported by various organizations like ICAR institutions, NABARD, Ministry of Rural Development, ISRO, and Gates Foundation. And the supply side of this whole initiative, the technologies comes from various innovators, entrepreneurs, researchers in academic as well as research field and domain. And they'll be basically talking about their technology and how disseminating of the same towards the need. And on the demand side of this initiative, we have webinar participants ranging from typically agribusiness enthusiasts, government functionaries, agribusiness companies to agribusiness stakeholders who are basically keen in knowing the agri technologies, or for that matter, getting themselves acquainted with the same. So there was a short introduction of the entire initiative. Moving towards today's topic of discussion, which is doubling farmers' income with embryo transfer technology. Today with us we have Ms. Saundarya N. She's an assistant manager in Tropical Animal Genetics Private Limited. Tropical Animal Genetics, or you can say TAG, is a reproductive a technology company that provides superior genetic gains in breeding programs to enhance productivity, thereby ensuring sustainable and profitable production of animal protein. So, taking this further and talking about our speaker today, Ms. Saundarya comes with an experience and background of more than 2 years in the domain of marketing and strategy. She has worked with Tata Trust before working for TAG, and is a post-graduation management diploma holder from IIM Raipur. So, Ms. Saundarya, I welcome you on behalf of CCS NIAM, and I think I expect you to take it further from now. Over to you, Saundarya. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Akshay. Thank you for the introduction about NIAM, and thank you very much for the warm welcome. Okay. So as you said, now primarily today I will be talking on embryo transfer technology and how it can help in increasing the milk production of cattle, and how it can double the dairy farmers' income. So that is what primarily today I will be addressing. So first, you have already introduced about me, so I'll give a brief introduction about TAG first. Then I'll move on to the topics. So can I interact with the audience? Can we hear from the audience?
Actually, we have kept them on mute for the time being. You are presenting your PPT so that there is no disturbance in between.
Okay. So maybe at the end of the session, we can start interacting with them.
Yes, with the end of this. So first we'll have your presentation, and by the end of the session, we'll have question, answer, and interaction rounds. So in that way, it will go.
Okay, sure. So as you have mentioned, what TAG is primarily doing is like we are concentrating mainly on the reproductive technology. So what we do is like through breeding programs and breed improvements will help them to get cattle that has higher milk production capability. So that is what we are mainly focusing on. So how we'll do is like how we'll help them to get cattle with higher productivity is like by offering them superior genetics and by offering our products like high merit semen doses and artificial insemination services and embryo transfer technology. So this is mainly our products. And to talk about our partners, we are partnered with NDDB, National Dairy Development Board, and also our technology partner is Transover Genetics. So Transover Genetics is the world leader in embryo production. So with the help of their technology, we are able to freeze and transfer the embryos, and we can make it available to the farmers' doorsteps throughout India. So first, let's talk about the challenges and the problems that are prevalent in India, and then I'll discuss about what solution we are proposing and how it will address those problems. So the if we see the main problem in India is these are all the main challenges when it comes to uh, dairy milk productivity. So if we see, we have very low milk production per cow. So when we compare to other countries, if we see our exotic breeds or average indigenous breeds hardly gives around 3 to 5 liters in a day, and if we see our exotic cross breeds, that gives around 7 to 10 liters in a day. So that's the average. But when we compare it to other countries, they have 25 liters, 30 liters producing, and more than 40 liters production per day. So how they have achieved this much production, milk production in cattle? So even if we take our own breeds, Gir and Sahiwal, they are performing very well in countries like Brazil and Australia. So they are performing very well. So just by using these Gir and Sahiwal, they have attained higher milk production in our very own breeds. And the other is how to, this is one challenge, lower milk production in our cow. And the other thing is poor genetics. We don't have cattle that have produces better, higher milk production, and that has better milk quality. Milk quality in the sense milk protein, fat, and better feed conversion, and that are more resilient to our climates and better resistance to disease. And another thing is like we don't follow better breeding. We don't have good breeding practices. Most people, what they do while breeding is like they focus making the animal pregnant so that they'll move on to the next cycle of lactation. But we have to focus on the breed improvement. Then only if we focus on the breed improvement, we'll have a good breed in the next generation. But as people are focusing more on just on breeding and making the animal pregnant, and not focusing on the next generation, we are not getting good quality of cattle for the next generation. And obviously the next thing is like scarcity of fodder and grazing land. So because of the scarcity, the milk production is also becoming a challenge. We can't sustain the cost of milk production. So these are all the primary challenges we are facing. So so what is the solution that we are proposing to the challenges is the new technology, that is this embryo transfer technology. So first I'll walk you through what is artificial insemination and what is embryo transfer technology. So what is the benefits of embryo transfer technology over artificial insemination and why this technology? So one thing is for artificial insemination, what or how we do is, so in artificial insemination, we'll just extract the semen from the donor and we'll deposit this semen, or we'll do artificial insemination to the cows which we own. So what we do is in artificial insemination, we have the opportunity to utilize the high merit or this value that we get from the bull. But as the oocytes or eggs from the cows we have, we can't use, will not be able to utilize the germplasm of high merit cows. It is just whatever we are having. So but if we see embryo transfer process, we have a cow. that is also a high merit, and we have a bull that is also high merit. So in artificial insemination, we don't have any opportunity to utilize the germplasm of a high merit cow. But whereas in embryo, we'll have the opportunity to utilize the germplasm of a high merit cow. So what we do in embryo transfer process, we first extract or take this oocytes from the cow, and then we first extract the bull from the semen. So in this way, after extracting this oocytes and semen, we'll do in vitro fertilization in a lab and will produce embryos. So after producing embryos, then we can transfer it to any surrogate cow. If we have the capacity, if the bull's production is like 30 liters in a day, and if the calf production, if the cow whatever the cow we have production is 5 liters per day, so it will be like average will be like 10 liters or 15 liters in a day. But if we have a cow and both bull that has the ability for 30 liters production, the calf will also here produce 30 liters. So that is the main difference. So if in artificial insemination, it is difficult to achieve a high milk yielding cow. So if we use embryo transfer technology, we can utilize the characteristics of the cow, because we are extracting this oocyte. So our embryo derived cows will also have higher milk production capability. So I think I saw a comment here. Okay, I'll just move on to the.
We'll take the questions once the entire presentation is done. So
Okay. So these are all the products that is offered by TAG, high merit semen doses and artificial insemination doses, and embryos and embryo transfer services. And apart from this, we have launched one more product recently, that is a cattle which is impregnated with embryos, so that these embryos are available to all the farmers. So the challenge with this embryo transfer services, like uh, transporting these embryos and making the, embryo transfer technician available at all places is difficult. Even addressing one or two embryo transfer service, one or two embryo pregnancies is difficult. So what we are doing is we are impregnating a cattle with embryos in our own form, and we are giving this cattle with embryos to the farmers, even those who want only one embryo derived pregnancies. So in this way, with our new product, we are also making embryos available to all marginal farmers in India. So these are all the benefits of embryo transfer technology. So if we see, as I've earlier mentioned, we can easily utilize this high milk productivity. So as we are if we see for tag, we have high milk yielding donors with NDDB. Those milk yield is recorded for various lactations, and whose pedigree details are recorded. So we have such donors. We produce embryos from such donors. So because of that, the embryos will also have higher milk producing. The milk cow from embryo will also have higher milk production capability. So as I mentioned earlier, this is 100% genetic transmission. So we'll have the opportunity to utilize the genetics or superior genetics of a cow as well. And apart from this, if we go for normal breeding, it will take many generations to accelerate the genetic improvement. But whereas in embryo, within just one generation, by using this embryo, we can easily accelerate the genetic advancement. And by better feed conversion, what we means is, like, if we have three cows that are producing 10 liters, but if we have one cow that is producing 30 liters, so the overall feed that we have to provide to produce the same quality of same quantity of milk will reduce. So if we take for example like this 30 liters versus one cow producing 30 liters versus three cows producing 10 liters 10 liters, so your basic feed that you have to give will reduce and the number of open days will be there. So then in the number of open days you'll just have to feed one cow instead of three cows. So all this will decrease the overall quantity of feed which you have to give also. And in with embryos you have the options to choose the desired breed you want. Like if you want you can choose pure indigenous breeds, or if you want you can choose pure exotic breeds, or if you want you can choose a crossbreed of F1 generation. So in this way you can be assured of the breed purity of the cattle as well. So if you go for a F1 generation breed, so that will have more, because that is F1 generation breed is something that is produced using a pure indigenous and pure exotic breed. So when you go for a F1 crossbreed, you will have the characteristics of like 50% that HF or Jersey, or 50% Gir or Sahiwal. So when you have uh, some cattle with this F1 generation, what you will have is like you will have more climate resilience, like that is more suitable to our climatic conditions, and that will have better disease resistance. So if you have this F1 crossbreed, you can sustain this production even for that will have better longevity, and you can sustain the milk production even for 10 lactations. So whereas in general we hardly have for like 5 to 6 lactations, and then we'll stop because of the reduction in milk yield and various other reasons, because of the health issues. We'll stop using after, mostly that we have this practice of stop using after 5 to 7 lactations. But whereas this F1 cattle, we can use it even for 10 lactations. Uh, yeah. So these are all the major things which I wanted to mention. So I'll take some questions if anyone has. Then I'll move on to a different one, like what is the cattle impregnated with embryos and how it is useful to marginal farmers.
Thank you so much, Saundarya. I think this presentation was pretty clear and straight. So
Yeah.
I think we have one question from Mr. Sendil Paranaswamy. The question pertains to, it makes the farm more and more dependable on corporate companies. Is it suitable for Indian scenario?
Yeah, the thing is actually, yeah, only one time you have to purchase the embryos. So then it won't make dependable apart from that. So for example, if you like 100 cows, then what you will do is like maybe you can repurchase the embryos for one time. Like you can purchase 30 or 40 embryos for upgrading your cattle herd. Then after upgrading your cattle herd, you can use the same cattle herd which you have upgraded. You don't need to purchase it again and again and again. It is just a one time investment to upgrade your cattle herd permanently. I hope you were able to understand. It makes sense.
Yes, actually, because that is how it's going to cater the requirement, and I think that is how it will go.
Yeah.
Andre, I have one simple question. I think considering I have a very less exposure to dairy and entire thing. So, see, for example, considering India as a, on a pan country basis, it's a very diverse country, right? So we have
Yeah.
like the climatic condition and climatic weather differs from state to state and in a very elongated manner, right? So
Yeah.
does tag caters to all the climatic conditions? For example, if we compare the temperature you have in Bengaluru or Hyderabad to what we have in Rajasthan, to what we have in Assam, or to what we have in Himachal, so does it
You can.
cater to all kinds of breeds, because they also vary from state to state, I presume?
Yeah, so the thing is, for each and every climatic condition or for each region, we can choose the breed that suits to that particular climatic condition. For example, if you go for Punjab or Haryana, they'll have more HF breeds or Jersey breeds. You can use even some breeds that have around 75% to 90% HF or Jersey you can use. But whereas you come to regions like Hyderabad, where the weather is hot, where it has hot climatic conditions, you can go for breeds that are F1, like that has more 50% HF and 50% gear, something like that. So when you go for this, that has characters that is more resilient, that is more suitable to that climatic conditions. Or you can even go for indigenous breeds for that climate. So we have various types of breeds, so you can choose accordingly as per your climatic conditions of that particular area. So you can even choose the breed composition, whether it is 50% F1 or pure indigenous. So according to your needs, you can choose. And
Okay.
apart from this, the one main technology that TAG offers is we produce these embryos using sex semen, and we're also indigenously developing the tax partner is indigenously developing the technology for sex sorting the semen in India, and we also produce these embryos using sex semen. So it offers 95 to 90% probability for the production of female calves.
Sandhya, I'm expecting this is the whole entire technology is patented, right? You have IP rights over this. Tag has any IP rights or trademark rights or maybe patent rights over this technology developed?
For this, it is under the production. It is under the Jiva Sciences. That is one of the
Okay.
subsidiary of TAG. So they own
Okay.
this whatever rights for the sorting this technology.
Technology.
But as of now, we are procuring the six sorted semen from outside, and we are producing these embryos. And our technology partner is, as I mentioned earlier, Transover Genetics. So they own everything, and we produce embryos with the help of Transover Genetics.
Understood. Understood. We have one more query. This pertains to kindly provide the economics of one embryo for farmer,
uh, one economics for one embryo for farmer.
as in
Okay.
I think the financials of how the entire costing would go for a farmer.
Okay. So uh, before moving on to the cost, what I would request or how I would view, ask them to view embryo is as like something like one time investment permanently to upgrade your cattle herd. Because if you uh, see, even if you take just the embryos life cycle, like the cows which is produced from the embryos life cycle, like 5 to 7 lactation, it is profitable. But how I would ask or request someone into account, take into account as like, so if you upgrade your cattle herd, then you don't need to invest any further on buying cattle from outside, or any other activities. Like you will also have options to sell this high merit calves that are produced from this embryo derived milking cow in the future generations. So when we view the investment for embryo, we have to have this long time horizon, like not just the embryo derived milking cow, but also the calves. So you will also have calves that are highly productive, and also you will have the opportunity to sell high merit calves. So if we take the investment which a farmer has to for procuring the embryos is we're actually 30 to 35,000.
Okay. And
So
we have
depending on
another
the
question
size, yeah.
which pertains to the how can you increase the number of lactation in ETT?
So basically, what happens usually in our Indian scenarios, like the cattle's milk productivity will reduce, or the cattle health will not be good. So because of that, we don't keep the cattle after 5 lactations. But whereas if we see a cow from embryo transfer technology, from embryo, it will have the longevity or the capability to live for longer years because of the good health, and it will have good milk productivity. So because of that, you can keep the cattle for more lactations. We are not doing anything to increase the milk production, or we are not to increase the number of lactations. It is just because the cattle is good, you can keep it for a longer period of time. But this also depends on how you are feeding the cattle, how you are maintaining the cattle.
Okay. Uh, Mr. Sachin, if you are connected, this participant is asking, I think he wants to directly connect to Soundarya. He wants his mic to be unmuted. Can you please check, Sachin? So, sir, you can unmute yourself if you can try.
Hello. Yes.
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Hello. Yes. Just my basic question is how you can increase the number of lactation just by going for ETT, because already the artificial insemination are going on. So is there any tactics or any genetic for how can you actually increase the lactation numbers? Because it is by nature, healthcare, everything is required, whether it is ETT born or it is a AI born or natural born, you require a nutritional support. So how the ETT actually differs from the normal breeding?
So, as I mentioned earlier, we are not doing anything special to increase the number of lactations. It is because the cow is healthier, and
Yes, in my opinion, when you go for actually high yielding cow,
yeah.
you were mentioning about the instead of keeping three cows, one can go for a one cow.
Yeah.
Normally in the village or in the farmer scenario,
Mm.
high yielding cow is having more risk. That is natural. Because
Actually, why is it?
the risk
Yeah.
is more. When risk is more, moreover, the high yielding will have more susceptibility. So healthcare will be a more costlier than the ordinary cow. So in
Okay.
that case, actually, healthcare, you are talking about the healthcare actually will be better so that it will prolong the life and you can increase the number of lactation. But in
So,
my opinion, when risk is more, the susceptibility is more, the healthcare expenditures will be more, then this actually the healthcare would be a bigger problem when compared to
okay.
the, yeah.
Okay, I'll answer this question. So, this depends on how we have uh, attained that high milk yielding cattle. So the how you like the way you are telling us, like, so what might have happened in that case, when the cattle is producing higher milk, you might have done artificial insemination using exotic breed semen again and again. So like if you're, see, for example, if you're first doing artificial insemination on a pure indigenous breed, whatever breed we have, so the next generation exotic breed composition will be 50%. So when you use HF semen on the same cattle, the next generation the HF will be 75% composition. Okay, so because of this, when the when the breed composition varies, so when you have 75% of HF, the milk production will be high, but it will not be climate resilient. So that's why I'm telling you have to go for F1 crossbreeds, and you have to, how you have to do is like you have to follow sustainable breeding practices. Then only it will stay healthier and also produce more milk. Or else it will not stay healthier even if it produces more milk. It depends on the breeding practices we follow for subsequent generations. We can attain higher milk production, and also we can sustain the health of the cattle. So you have to follow correct breeding practice for subsequent generation. Even if you're buying a buying a embryo with 50%, 50%, after that next generation you have to follow proper breeding practices, then only you can
Yeah.
sustain it for longer generation.
So F1 generation, we have to keep only the F1 generation. After that, we should not go for further.
No,
That
no,
is
no.
your
You
opinion.
have to. You can get good cattle from F1 generation as well, but you have to follow proper breeding practice. Like if you're buying an
What
F1,
is what is the proper breeding
yeah.
practice?
So I'll
How it
tell
is?
you. There are you can do it in two ways. If you're buying a F1 cattle with 50% HF and 50% gear, you have to use someone from the same breed, like 50% HF and same gear. Then you can sustain it for the next generation. So in case if you have difficulty in semen availability for this 50% for this F1
Yeah, then again
cross.
we have to go for like a artificial insemination. The same selection
No,
procedure
no,
only.
you
We have
don't.
to
No, no,
find
no.
out the right bull.
I'll tell you. No. You have to use someone from. You don't need to go for embryo after you have upgraded your cattle for once. What you can do is like after this when once you get this F1 generation, for the second generation, what you can do is like you can use exotic breeds. Then for the third generation, you have to use indigenous breed. So in this way, you can maintain the breed composition and you can make sure the stays healthier for subsequent generation.
So this
So you
can be
have to
done in the artificial insemination also. Once if you have a good breed first,
yeah.
yeah,
See, yeah, that
then we
is the
can.
challenge now, right? Not everyone in India has a good breed. So we have mostly indefinite breeds. So that's the challenge in India. So what we are doing is like we are upgrading the cattle one time and for all.
Yeah, this is a one technology we can use for a quick multiplication of a good germplasm. So if you have
Yes.
one good cow, we can actually multiply very fast or very quickly. That is
Yeah.
the one advantage. But I couldn't understand actually because in Indian scenario, I know that actually the farmers are ready to keep low producing cow actually many numbers because the risk will be very less. Whereas
Mm.
if they go for a high producing animal, the risk is more. Moreover, the feeding and healthcare, maintenance, and other things they may find difficulty because still we don't have good veterinary
It is
service in
as
the
I
nook and
mentioned.
corner of the country. Yeah, maybe wherever there's actually a good healthcare and high sophisticated things are available, the farmers can go for it.
No. As I mentioned earlier, uh,
Yeah.
yeah, a high milk producing cow can stay healthier, but it depends on
How it
how
can
you have achieved that high milk producing cow. It is not all high milk producing cow will be unhealthy, and you have to
not
incur.
unhealthy, susceptible for many things because when uh,
That's
uh,
why it depends on the breed composition. It
yeah.
is not all. That's why we have to take several things into account, like breed composition mainly. So then only we
Yeah,
can say, okay.
in your embryo, what is actually the breed you are using?
So we have several types of donor. HF,
Yeah,
Jersey,
yeah.
and Kir, Sahiwal, Kankraj.
Okay.
Okay.
So which is
So
having
based
more
on
disease resistance even with the high production, high productivity?
So that depends on whether you want indigenous or crossbred, how you want to choose.
So my basic doubt is
Hmm.
you are saying actually even if it is a high producing animal, it will have health or the
You can go for
susceptibility
a
will not be there.
F1 crossbred between HF and Gear or Jersey and Gear, HF Sahiwal or Jersey Sahiwal, because F1 crossbred will be very much better.
Hmm. F, HF and hello.
HF and Gear or HF Sahiwal. So for this specific question, I can connect you with my technical team if
Okay.
you want.
Okay.
Okay, offline, I can give you the details. You
Yeah.
can even get in touch with the technical team. You can mail me so they
Yeah.
can answer very specific questions according to the region in which you require,
Yeah. Thank you.
depending on the climatic conditions of that particular region.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for your information.
Yeah,
I think this is a good technology. There is no doubt. But at the same time, only in certain places, wherever it is conducive, I think we can improve and go for a faster increasing the genetic potential. I
yeah,
think thank you for
definitely.
your information. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Soundarya, I think by the end of the presentation, I think you can just drop your formal or official email address on the chat box so that all the participants can connect to you on whether whatever questions or query, even if they have after the presentation. Would that be fine for
Yeah,
you?
sure. I'm just doing it. Yeah, I'll do it.
Okay, thank you. So, is there anything you wanted to present something else as well, as you said?
Yeah. So if everyone is clear with the technology, I just the next thing is just see I've spoken about the technology and how it is beneficial to everyone, but the major problem that lies ahead is like how we can provide this technology to farmers across India. The major challenge is farmers in India being marginal farmers with a herd of like 2 to 3 cows, or when less than 10 cows. So making this providing this technology to everyone is when considering logistics and the technical issues involved, so providing this technology to farmers across India is a challenge one. So to provide this technology even to marginal farmers, we have come up with a new product that is more suitable to the farmers across India.
So I
So
think accessibility has been an issue in Indian agricultural scenario. So I think yes, with this technology, of course, it's a great technology as you discussed and as also everybody said. But then yeah, executing it and making it reach farmer where it should technically reach is basically the motive of this initiative as well, Kisan Mitra. So yes,
yeah.
I think your next presentation would be more beneficial.
So this is just a brochure which we are making for our new product. So I'll just walk you through the brochure to understand what is the product and how it is beneficial and how even as a marginal farmer can avail this technology. So everyone is able to view my screen right now.
Uh,
I've changed the screen. So I'm showing a
no,
PDF now.
no, Saundarya. I think there's a glitch. We cannot. We'll just have a we have a blank
Okay, I'll
screen.
just reshare it again.
Yes, please. Thank you.
Yeah. Can everyone see the screen now? So,
Yes,
and if
Saundarya. Yes, yes.
yeah, okay. I'll just so this is something which we have developed and which we have come across for making the technology accessible for everyone. So what we are doing is like we are purchasing a surrogate cattle and we are transferring embryo. So we are doing all the embryo transfer services in our own farm, and then we are selling a cattle that is impregnated with our embryos to the farmers. Okay, so this is what the farmer will get when he purchases the cattle. So he'll get a pregnant cow at the fourth month of pregnancy. So after in 5 to 6 months, he'll get a calf, and he'll also have a surrogate cow. Then in another 27 months, this calf will grow into a milch cow. So what it is. So the farmer purchases the cattle at fourth month of its pregnancy. In 6 months, he'll get a embryo derived calf, and in another 27 months, that this calf will grow into a TPG milch cow. So for the immediate revenue he'll get from the surrogate cow in which we have transferred the embryo. So this surrogate cow will also be with him. So this is what a cattle which is impregnated with embryo. So as of now, there is a farm which is operational in Vijayawada that produces this cattle that are impregnated with embryos. So as I mentioned earlier, this is the uh, embryo transfer process, and what are all the advantages of Cowbrio. So this also I have mentioned it earlier. And how do we procure the surrogates, and what is this that tax specifically offers? So when we the main thing with the embryo is like so the donors are maintained at a farm which is disease free, and before selecting or choosing the donors are tested for various disease like brucellosis, IBR, BV, and JD. So that we can ensure the embryo, you can be very sure that the calf or cow from embryos will be disease free. So one is this thing, and apart from the embryos, we also test our surrogates for diseases like brucellosis before procuring the surrogates and bringing it to the farm. So even after procuring the surrogates, we used to keep the cattle in quarantine for 30 days to make sure they are disease free and they don't have any disease. After keeping it, the surrogates in our farm for 30 days, then only we'll bring it to our main farm and do the embryo transfer. So what we do is like we feed the cattle with in the right way with balanced ration so that they will remain healthy throughout their pregnancy period, and the farm is maintained with proper scientific cattle management practices. uh, so that is one thing, like how we manage our surrogates. And the other thing is uh, when you choose tag, what are all the details we give? So what are all the details that you have to look to make sure the cattle has good productivity is like so for a cow, what they'll do is when you choose a donor, they'll record the milk production for various lactations, and for a bull they'll record its mother's lactation and its daughter's average lactation. So in this way, they choose the donors for producing the embryos. So you can get all these details or certificates that are provided by the government for the milk yield of this embryo. So that is what we have, all the pedigree details, vaccination records, and productivity records. So not just here, whenever you for embryos or something like this, you can get all this sort of details. So if you're going or opting for this technology, I'm not just telling with respect to tag. Wherever you are going, you can. These are all the details that you have to look into for ensuring the embryo has good milk production. So this milk productivity records and its predictive details and vaccination records. So you can look into all these details. And as I've mentioned earlier, this has a probability of 85 to 90% for the desired sex, and where you can produce whatever breed you want. Yeah. So this is pretty much about the product, that is TBG Jest. Yeah, Akshay.
Yes, Saundarya, thank you. I think you very well explained the entire scenario, the product as well as the technology, and how the accessibility part of making it reach the stakeholders, which is an important part. So I expect any participant, if you have any questions or queries pertaining to the presentation made, to the product, to the technology, how the accessibility to the stakeholders, or maybe if anybody wants to connect, with tag on any front, I think the floor is open for questions and suggestions for that matter if you have any. So I'll just check the chat box if you have any questions.
As of now, government subsidy is not available specifically for embryo, but still we are working to get some plans that is in a way that subsidy is available for this product. As of now, it's not available specifically for embryos because this is something very new and on a commercial scale. So this technology is completely new in India.
Soundarya, even I have a simple question, I think, which relates to the health of the cattle. Does it involve any kind of risk? Because when you are using an animal, like, of course, the process is entirely done through like on a
Hmm.
legal front. But then, is there any risk involved, or have you encountered any while doing the same?
Actually, embryo transfer process is very much similar to artificial insemination.
Yes.
So there is no such thing as a risk involved with doing embryo transfer. So we have been doing artificial insemination in India for quite a long time. It
Yes.
is
Yes.
just
Yes.
what you're transferring is different, and the time you'll be transferring the embryos is different. Like while you are doing artificial insemination, you will do it during the time of heat of the cow. Like heat is the proper time to transfer the deposit the semen. But
Yes.
whereas an embryo, you'll do it 1 week after the heat, after the cow comes into
Account.
heat.
Okay.
Okay, so it's just that time is different and what you're depositing is different, but more or less the process is same. And the place of deposition will be different. So there is no such thing as this is a risky process. Cattle's health or the internal organs will be difficult.
Okay.
Nothing like that. It's a simple
Thank you
process.
so much. And thank you so much. So we have one more question. It says that will it encourage twins and triplets if the farmers requests?
No, will be transferring only one embryos. Like in case of semen, you'll be depositing so much quantity of semen, but when it comes to embryo, you'll be transferring only one embryo. So there is no possibility for twins or triplets, because even after depositing the one embryo, before going to transfer the next embryo, we'll make sure we'll give enough amount of time and we'll do the pregnancy diagnosis. Then only we'll go for the second embryo transfer.
Uh, Thank you so much, Soundarya. I think so. Any participants? The floor is still open for question. If you have any question, query, suggestion for the presentation just made for the technology, or for tag, if you want connections, any kind of. So kindly proceed. So
So to
I.
some FPOs, or if you're working with farmer clubs or farmer cooperatives, if they want session in regional languages for a larger amount of audience, because when if it is made in regional languages, they can relate to it well and can expect a wider amount of audience. So if you want to schedule it in the regional languages in Telugu or Hindi, I can arrange for that as well.
Oh, well, that's a very good initiative. I think that thank you so much. So we'll convey this regards further. Like if there is any requirement, I think after today's presentation, I think there will be a requirement, and so I will connect to you on the same front. Okay, so as I see, there is no further question or query pertaining to the presentation made or for tag or for Soundarya. I think I will wrap the session now. Thank you so much, Soundarya, for everything. Thank you so much for bearing with our technical team. I knew there was a glitch in between, and we had to so the participants are also thanking you in the chat box. I thank all the participants also for actively participating into the entire session, taking part in the we had a discussion also, which is very fair and square. I would also like to thank Mr. Sitaram Makhina, who's a manager marketing tag, who we got connected to Soundarya, and I think that is how the whole initiative and the entire presentation got executed. So I thank you everyone. Thank you Soundarya for.
Thank you so much,
Uh,
Akshay.
so now I'll request everybody to kindly leave the chat the meeting room, and we'll close the session. Thank you everyone. Have a nice day.